Next, we'd like to introduce Craig Tate for Holy Cross Energy. Craig, would you like me to look into solar energy?
Absolutely.
Alrighty, thank you. Everyone, Craig Tate.
Hello, as they introduced me, my name is Craig Tate. I work for Holy Cross Energy in their Public Relations Department. I was born and raised in Denver, but I've been calling the Roaring Fork Valley here my home for about 40 years. Now, typically, there's one person that influences us throughout our lives. Sometimes that one person comes around several times. Now, I was like many of you many years ago. I didn't know what I wanted to do before I was graduated from high school, what I wanted to do for a career. You know, I knew I loved to ski and I was into music, but I wasn't like a standout musician. So I thought, well, maybe I'll get into the music business by being like a music engineer, a guy behind the soundboard. Well, I wasn't also a very good student. In fact, my high school counselor, that one person, said, you know, maybe you ought to look into a junior college because I don't think you're gonna make it in a four-year school. That's what brought me up here to CMC. And that first semester at CMC, I took a philosophy class, and the instructor, Gene Miner, that one person, he didn't teach about the great thinkers. He taught us how to think great. And it made me really stop and ponder what I wanted to do in life. And I realized I wanted to make a change in the world. I really wanted to make an impact. And a few hit records were not going to achieve that. So one day on a field trip out to Colorado Rocky Mountain School out in Carbondale, there was a teacher there that was showing us around, Larry Paleo, that one person. And he showed us things that I had never witnessed before. This was back in the late 70s, and the faculty and students were recycling all their trash. They were growing all their own food. They had this huge World War II spotlight, the searchlight that they'd put all their table scraps on from the cafeteria, and they'd hoist it up onto this big pole, and they'd cook the table scraps there and then feed that to their pigs, and then they would use the pigs for food later. I said to myself, oh my gosh, these people aren't just talking about it, they're doing it. Well, remember how I said I wasn't that great of a student? I actually ended up graduating from CMC, top of my class, with honors. Thank you. That following summer, I had the summer that changed my life. Now, everybody has that summer where nothing is ever the same again. And I had a chance to be invited up to a special program up in Old Snowmass called WindStar, where students were learning about renewable energy and sustainability. And I met some of the most cutting-edge minds that summer. Buckminster Fuller, that one person. He's the guy that invented the geodesic dome. Paul McCready, he was a guy that made the first solar-powered airplane and flew it across the English Channel. The singer John Denver, and a bunch of other people. The following year, I went up to University of Colorado, but I never really was able to find what I was looking for there. And so for many reasons, I didn't return back that following year. I was working in Denver and I got a call from one of my old instructors at WindStar, Johnny Weiss, that one person. And he said, hey, me and a couple other guys are coming up with this special solar program up at CMC. I think you'd be a good candidate for it. It was exactly what I was looking for. After solar school, I did several jobs, but I realized that I really needed my 4-year degree to get the job that was really going to satisfy me. So I was able to get back into school, going to CSU, and I finished up my liberal arts degree there. But now what? Looked into several jobs. I thought, well, maybe I'll join the Peace Corps. So I went ahead and applied, and I got in. And there was that time that when you were accepted to when they actually gave you your assignment of where to go, you had to kind of wait. So during this waiting period, I was doing some odd jobs, and I had a friend of mine, J.D. Mooney, that one person, who said, "So why are you really going to the Peace Corps? Is it because you really want to help those people, or is it because you don't know have anything better to do with your time?" That made me stop in my tracks. I had to set the reset button there. And I realized that maybe my heart wasn't into the Peace Corps like I thought. So I was working at Carbondale, weatherizing homes, and our director popped his head out one day when we were loading up a truck, and he said, "Hey, Holy Cross just called and they've lost their energy auditor. Who needs a job?" Well, we all laughed at that time because when we were weatherizing homes, we thought of the utility as the enemy. We were coming in and working with these people to weatherize their homes and save all their energy, kind of save them from the big bad utility. And so I didn't really take it seriously. But the next week I found out that we didn't get a government grant that we were hoping for. And my partner, Robert Handy, that one person, said to me, "Maybe I ought to look into that job at Holy Cross." Well, I applied, and I got the job, and over the next 16 years, I completed over 5,000 energy audits in the Vale and Roaring Fork Valley. I've been there now 28 years. I'm going to be set here to retire soon with a pension and having had a really great career. And I'd like to end my story here with a quote from Buckminster Fuller. Remember the guy that made the geodesic dome? He said, "Never forget that you are one of a kind. Never forget that if there weren't any need for you or your uniqueness on earth, you wouldn't be here in the first place. Never forget, no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it is always because of one person that all the changes that matter in the world come about. So, be that one person." Thank you. We got the big line pole out there in the gyms. Come see me.